There's a certain kind of heartbreak that doesn't show up as screaming or smashing plates. It looks like scrolling through your phone, knowing they won't text. It looks like making excuses. They're just busy. It looks like choosing again and again the person who can't choose you. They cancel, they pull away, they disappear, and somehow you end up apologizing for being too much. If you trace your relationships like constellation lines, there's one shape that keeps repeating: people who leave. This isn't about judging your taste or telling you to raise your standards. It's about understanding why you're magnetized to people who are halfway out the door, why stability feels suspicious, and why you can sense someone's emotional unavailability from across a room and still walk toward it. We'll explore the childhood equations that wired your attractions, the nervous system logic behind chasing what hurts, and what it looks like to slowly retire from the role of the one who gets left. You were never bad at choosing people. You just learned to call abandonment home. Let's start with a scene. You're sitting on your bed, phone in hand, rereading a message that doesn't say much at all. Something like, "Yeah, things have been crazy, haha. Maybe we can catch up sometime." You stare at the word sometime like it's a verdict. They used to text constantly. Good morning, good night, random memes in between. They used to ask about your day, your fears, your weird little obsessions. And then slowly, so slowly you could almost pretend not to notice, the pace changed. Replies took longer. Plans became, "We'll see." Their affection started to feel like weather. Sometimes warm, sometimes cold, never under your control. You felt it. The tightening in your chest when they took hours to respond. The quiet panic when their "I'm just tired" suddenly sounded like, "I'm done with you." So you did what you always do. You tried to be understanding, less demanding, more chill, more patient, more forgiving. You swallowed questions. You toned yourself down. You started every message with, "No worries if not." On the surface, it looked like you were trying to save the connection. Underneath, something older was happening. A familiar script was loading. Because this isn't the first time, is it? It's a teacher who adored you and then changed classes. A parent who loved you and then left, physically or emotionally. A friend who was inseparable until they weren't. Your life is dotted with people who made you feel seen and then vanished or turned distant without explanation. So when you meet someone who is inconsistent, half available, vaguely broken, your body doesn't just recognize them, it relaxes. Ah, this I understand. This I know how to survive. You might tell yourself, "I just have bad luck," or "I'm drawn to mysterious people," or "I can't help that I fall for emotionally unavailable types." But there's something deeper going on than bad luck or bad taste. If you're honest, there's a pattern. People who can't stay, people who keep you guessing, people who turn your love into a test you're always on the verge of failing. And here's the hardest part to admit. When someone shows up stable, consistent, genuinely interested, you feel nothing, or you feel suspicious, or it's nice but there's no spark. If any of this sounds uncomfortably close to your history, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments if you recognize this pattern in your own life, whether in romance, friendships, or even with work and projects. The first thing to understand is this: you do not choose at random. Your attractions are not accidents. They are stories your nervous system is trying to finish. When you were young, you didn't just learn what love is. You learned what love does. Maybe love came in waves. A parent who could be warm and playful one day, withdrawn and irritable the next. You never knew who you were coming home to. You learned to scan the room, read micro-expressions, adjust yourself accordingly. You became an expert at managing other people's moods. Maybe love left without warning, a divorce, a death. A parent who was physically there, but emotionally somewhere else, lost in their own pain. No one sat you down and said, "This isn't your fault." So your brain did what children's brains do. It blamed you. If I were better, they'd stay. If I were easier, calmer, less needy, they'd love me the way I need. Maybe love was conditional. Good grades, good behavior, emotional self-control. These were the entry tickets. Crying, messing up, needing comfort. Those got you distance, criticism, or silence. In all of these scenarios, one lesson seeps in beneath the surface. Love is unstable. Closeness is risky. You will be left one way or another. So you'd better be ready. Fast forward to adulthood, and you're told a different story. Find the person who chooses you. Find the one who stays. Find healthy, secure love. But inside, your body is wired for a different equation. It doesn't trust steady love. It doesn't believe in being chosen without earning it. It doesn't know what to do with someone who doesn't make you chase. So you're drawn, almost compulsively, to familiar dynamics. The person who is warm in private, but distant in public. The one who opens up deeply, then disappears for days. The partner who says all the right things but never follows through. You don't like it, but you recognize it. And familiarity, to a nervous system shaped by chaos, feels safer than true safety. It's like growing up in a house that always smelled like smoke. Rationally, you know breathing clean air is better. But walk into a smoke-free room and something feels off. Your body waits for the smell it associates with home. This is what's happening when you say, "The nice ones are boring," or "I don't feel a spark with people who treat me well." The spark you think you're missing is often anxiety dressed up as chemistry. It's the rush of trying to win someone over, the high of unpredictable attention, the familiar ache of almost being chosen. On a deeper level, choosing people who leave can feel like a form of control. When you chase emotionally unavailable people, you're replaying an old story where you didn't get to have a say. Back then, someone left and you were powerless. Now, if you can just be good enough, patient enough, understanding enough, maybe this time the ending will be different. Maybe this time, the person who always leaves will stay. For you. That's not stupidity or self-sabotage. That's a child's heartbreak trying to write itself a better ending. Of course, there's another side to this. Protecting yourself. If you only choose people who are half in, you never have to risk the full disaster of being known and then rejected. You keep picking the person who is already one step away from you, because then when they go, you can say, "I knew this would happen. I saw this coming. I was prepared." It hurts, but it's a predictable hurt. And predictable pain can feel safer than unpredictable joy. There's also a belief buried in there, one you might not say out loud, but you live by. If someone really sees all of me, they'll leave. So you solve this by choosing people who aren't really available to see you. They're too wrapped up in themselves, their trauma, their work, their chaos. You pour into them, help them, wait for them, but you never have to fully step into the center of the stage. You can stay in your familiar role, background caretaker, secret hope holder, the one who loves more. In that role, you're heartbroken, but you're also safe from the terror of being fully seen. That's why advice like, just date someone secure often falls flat. Without deeper work, your body will reject that person like a mismatched organ. They'll feel wrong for you. You'll say, they're too clingy, there's no spark, or something's missing, when what's really missing is the adrenaline of repeating your old wound. So no, you don't like drama. You don't want to be hurt. You're not addicted to pain in some moral sense. You're adapted. You're trained. You're loyal to the first story you were ever told about love, that it leaves. So what do you do with this? How do you move from unconsciously choosing people who leave to consciously choosing people who can stay? Not by shaming yourself into better choices, not by forcing yourself to go on dates with people you feel absolutely nothing for, And not by flipping a switch from broken to healed. You start smaller, slower, closer to home. First, you name the pattern without attacking yourself. Instead of, "I'm so stupid, I always pick the wrong people," try, "I learned to feel at home with people who are inconsistent, and that doesn't make me broken. It explains why this keeps happening." Language matters. When you shift from self-attack to self-understanding, you create just enough space to make different choices. You move from "I am the problem" to "I have a pattern, and patterns can change." Second, you become suspicious of the spark, not in a cynical way, but in a curious way. The next time you feel that intense pull towards someone who's giving mixed signals, who doesn't do labels, who has a trail of half relationships behind them, pause. Ask yourself, do I feel drawn, or do I feel activated? Is this excitement or anxiety that I'm interpreting as chemistry? What about this person feels familiar? Sometimes the very thing that pulls you towards someone is the thing that once hurt you. The way they go quiet when emotions come up, the way they joke through serious conversations, the way they look at you like you're special, but never actually show up in ways that prove it. Curiosity doesn't kill attraction immediately, but it slow drips awareness into it. Over time, that awareness becomes resistance to the pattern. Third, you start practicing with low-stakes relationships. You don't have to start with the love of your life. Start with the friend who flakes constantly, the colleague who only texts when they need something, the family member who pulls you in and then pushes you away. In these smaller arenas, experiment with new behavior. When someone disappears for weeks and comes back acting normal, notice what happens in your body. Do you rush to smooth it over? Do you instantly forgive without a conversation? What if you allowed a little space instead of jumping back in at full intensity? When you feel the urge to over-explain, over-apologize, or accept crumbs, pause. Try saying, "I really value consistency and I'm not feeling that here." You don't have to say it perfectly. You just have to let your nervous system experience you choosing you. Every time you honor your own reality, instead of bending to keep someone close, you send your younger self a new message. We're not trapped anymore. We have options now. Fourth, you gently expose yourself to stable people. Even if at first you don't feel fireworks, this might be a friend who texts back when they say they will. Someone who remembers small details about your life. A person who apologizes when they mess up instead of vanishing. Let yourself notice how your body responds. Maybe you feel bored. Maybe you feel restless. Maybe you feel like pushing them away just to see if they'll chase. Instead of acting that out, see if you can simply stay. Stay in the conversation. Stay in the friendship. Stay in the discomfort of being treated kindly without having to earn it. At first it will feel unnatural. That's okay. You're not failing, you're reconditioning. Fifth, if you can, bring this pattern into a safe, therapeutic space. Telling the full truth about your attachment history to someone trained to hold it can be life-altering. Not because they magically fix you, but because, possibly for the first time, you experience this. You open up. You don't get punished or abandoned. You're still held even when you're messy, needy, angry, or confused. That lived experience does something a video can't. It gives your nervous system evidence that intimacy doesn't always end in loss. And finally, give yourself permission to grieve. Grieve the years spent chasing people who couldn't stay. Grieve the childhood version of you who thought their worth depended on keeping others from leaving. Grieve the relationships you almost had. The versions of yourself you became just to be tolerated. Because as much as this is about attraction patterns, underneath it's about loyalty to your past, to your parents, to younger you who made sense of the chaos the only way they could. You don't break this pattern by declaring war on yourself. You break it by honoring the part of you that was just trying not to be blindsided again. If this is resonating, maybe save this video to come back to on the days your brain tells you you're doing it again, you're choosing wrong again, you're not failing, you're practicing a different kind of love, starting with the way you show up for yourself. Here's the quiet truth most people never say out loud. You don't choose people who leave because you're unlovable. You choose them because some part of you still believes love is leaving, still believes closeness is the prelude to loss, still believes it's safer to keep rehearsing the old story than to risk writing a new one. But patterns are not destiny. They're just old survival strategies that haven't met the version of you who exists now, the you who has language for abandonment, the you who has awareness of your nervous system, the you who has access to support, resources, and tools your younger self never did. As you start to notice your pulls, question your sparks, and experiment with tiny acts of self-loyalty, something shifts. People who leave stop looking like the only ones worth wanting. Stability stops feeling like boredom and starts feeling like oxygen. You begin to realize that the real spark isn't in the person who makes you anxious. It's in the life you can build when you're not constantly bracing for impact. If you want more reflections like this, slow, honest conversations about the parts of you that rarely get named, you're welcome to stay, to subscribe, to make this one of the places you don't have to earn your right to be here. Because in the end, this isn't just a video about attraction. It's a reclamation of what love is allowed to mean for you. From calling abandonment destiny to recognizing it as a pattern. From chasing the ones who leave to learning to choose the ones who can stay. From being loyal to your old story to becoming loyal to the person you're still becoming.